Hey y'all, Billy from Permaculture Farm. Okay, today it's going to be a little bit different. Hey, before I even get started, we want to make sure to remind you that we still got comfrey for sale, and we also have t-shirts for sale. Not this one, we'll get it on there eventually, but not now. But we got other t-shirts for sale, so just check out that link down below and you can get them. Okay, today we're going to be planting some potted trees. Those of you that watch this are probably thinking, hold on, Jack, we know that you plant only bare roots. Well, when you come across a deal like this where they were, you know, pretty expensive, and then they bumped the price on down to bam, $7 a piece. Look, you got to be out of your mind to pass up a deal like that. Even though these trees look a little bit haggard, why wouldn't I do it? For a grand total of 21 bucks, yeah, and some of these trees are about 12 feet tall. Why wouldn't I give it a shot? Now, ideally, I like to plant small trees for a whole host of reasons, but I'm going to give these a shot because let's just say all but one of them makes it. If just one takes root over the course of its life, it will have paid for all three of them so many times over it'll make your head spin, and that's not even indexing inflation. But before I get started, I want to give a shout out to the homesteading pastor and his wife, Robbie Lynn. Check out their YouTube channel because the only reason I even found these trees is because I watched their video first where they bought a bunch of them for $5 because they went to the manager and got them for a real good deal. So I wouldn't even have been looking when I walked out of there, but I remembered their video, saw these in the distance, and said, you know what, let's just go ahead and buy them. So we're going to put these guys, we got one tree over in the food forest that didn't make it, okay? So we're going to take one of these and plant it over there, and then on up in the orchard, up past where these violent bees are right now, we got a couple more we're going to plant up there, but we're only going to talk about this one. So we'll probably take this one here, we're going to put it over there. We're going to show you how it's done, especially when it's in a pot. It's generally the same when it comes to a bare root tree, but we're going to show you the little differences and the subtleties that happen when you got to do it from a pot. All right, y'all. So look here, this tree's dead. All right, so it ain't doing no good. We're going to get it out of the way for now. So we're going to replace it with this one over here. But the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take some of this old mulch here. And about the footprint of where I'm going to dig that tree, that's exactly where it's going to go. So we're just going to take a little bit more than I need, get it up here into this bucket. Rest of it, I'm just going to push back. All right, so we got a little bit of cardboard up in here. Not much. And folks, this is always a good barometer for me because when I look at the cardboard, it tells me how alive this soil may or may not be. But now the reason I put that in the bucket because I'm going to reuse it, right? Now, I would also, if I weren't already in this food forest area, I'd go ahead and take this cardboard. I got a little pizza box here. I'd go ahead and take whatever I dig out of here, stick it on that cardboard so you don't lose it in your grass. Or wood chips like I got here. But I got these old pots, and all I'm going to do is dig this thing out, you know, deeper and wider than you want, than your actual bulb. I can see already that when the tree was here, that a lot of soil was exchanged already. I can tell just by the coloration of this soil. Now we also got, now if I ain't too careful, if I'm not watching myself here, a lot of these wood chips are going to wind up getting down in there and robbing more nitrogen from me. So I want to make sure and get some of that stuff up out of the way. I can always put it on top. So I'm going to dig it out some more. All right, y'all. We got a whole lot of tree for a little bit of pot. So let's get it up out of here and see what we got. Everything's, yeah, like I suspected, pretty root bound. We're going to break that up a little bit. You could even score it. Let me see if I can bust this up a little bit. All right, so here we go. We got a tree. We got a whole lot of tree with a little bit of root. So, I mean, is this thing gonna make it? I don't know, but for $7, I'm gonna find out. Okay, so we got our hole dug, and you know, I can already tell that this soil now, it was already dug pretty good, and it's already had the cardboard on it. A lot of worms are in here. They've done a lot of work. So I'm not gonna dig it as wide and as deep as some people would say. because there's other things around here I don't necessarily want to disturb that were part of this guild. things that you can't yet see, things that are going to come up next spring, like daffodils and a number of other things. So I'm going to stick a little bit of this back in there. You know, got a little bit of sand, got a little bit of clay, all that. I want this thing, I'm going to stick it in here, right? That's just about where I want it to be, but there's something I want to pay attention to, and that's the graft union. And that's where the scion was attached to the rootstock. You want to know where your dominant wind is a lot of times, and believe me, this helps. Unless you want a lopsided tree, this really helps. If you've already done it this way, it's not that critical, but it does help. I know that my dominant wind comes from that way to this way, but here's my graft union. I'm going to put it in the direction of my dominant wind, which is going to be pushing against it this way, so it's going to be pushing back. You dig? That's exactly what we want right there. So now that I got this thing in the hole, it looks a little bit higher than the soil around it, but there's a reason for that. There's a method in the madness to it, so bear with me. Okay, now we're going to backfill some of this soil, get some of that in there all the way around. All right, we got this bad boy in the hole. Now, at this point, here's where, okay, some people want to call me an expert, and I'm not. I'm not an expert at anything. If anything, I think I seek to be a Dr. Phil of permaculture, meaning that I want to know how these relationships work with one another. But when I look for specific advice about certain things, just like a decathlete or a mixed martial artist or anybody like that, they go out there and seek a coach for the specific things they need to train on. And that's exactly what I do. And when it comes to trees, especially permaculture, orchards, and things like that, I always go right back to Stefan Subkowiak. And if you're watching me on YouTube, which undoubtedly you are, he also has a YouTube channel, folks. And that is honestly the person you really want to get the strongest advice when it comes to doing this stuff. So I basically take a lot of my cues from him. So what he teaches, and it was based on a PhD from Oklahoma State University, that always you want to put your amendments on the soil, not in the bottom of the hole or anything. Screws up capillarity and a number of other things. So that's exactly what we do. And frankly, over the years, we've had nothing but good success over it. So we're going to hit a little bit top dressing of some more refined compost. And we're going to use some of the thicker wood mulch kind of compost that's mostly on the way. This stuff is more bioactive. I'm just going to kind of spread that out, right? Okay. Now here's one of my little techniques. We got a pizza box here, and you can go about this a couple of ways. I usually, whenever I put cardboard down, I always double it up if I can possibly help it. So I'm going to lay this cardboard flat. I was showing my man, the Modern Yeoman, when I was at his house, one of the little methods I invented when it comes to doing this stuff, when it comes to laying this mulch or cardboard around trees or plants or whatever. And I'll show you guys the same. So we got it like this. All I'm going to do is cut almost to the middle. Then I'm going to cut a little Y in it like so. I'm going to take that and push it back just like that. Now, if you're dealing with trees or anything on a slope, you want to make sure, like for example, my slope's coming down this way. The way that's worked for us best over the years is to put it, let's say it's raining, right? And your stuff's going to fly, well, it'll slide right back out of there. But if you do it like this, just pull it up, slide it on there, bam, cardboard right there. Now I know on the outside of it, I could go much wider, and typically my mulch ring would be way wider than this. But this whole area is covered in mulch. So we're looking good right there. Okay, now all I'm going to do at this point, this thing's ready to rock and roll. All I'm going to do is add a few more amendments on top. Some more of this more refined compost, and then we're going to take this. This is why I like that woody compost that we make, where it's mostly compost. It's almost all the way compost, but not completely. And this stuff is more fungal dominant, which is going to be better for your trees. So that's why I like using a lot of this wood stuff in here. I got another batch of it right here. I'm going to stick this on top. And folks, unlike, now, I think this is William's pet peeve as well, are these people, for some reason, I don't know why, they take all their mulch. Whenever they go out there and dress a tree, I am not kidding, this is exactly how they do it. I don't know why. I don't know whatever possessed these folks, but if you want to cause disease, that's the quickest way to do it, or one of the quickest. We're going to take our mulch ring and just kind of pull it away. Now, what's important is that you make absolutely sure that this, ideally, you want this to be 4 to 6 inches, your graft union. You want it to be above the surface. You do not want that in the ground. Otherwise, it's going to constantly be putting all the energy, making growth from your root stock, which is not what you want. You want your growth up here, not down here. So you want to make sure that's above the soil. So we're going to dress that real nice. Bam, we got this tree planted. But here's the problem with a potted tree, especially one that's 12 foot tall, okay? Number one problem is, I showed you that root ball. There is no way on earth, this is another reason why I like planting them small, is because it'll put down root growth. And when we got strong winds come through here, which we do every once in a while, I guarantee you, in the good strong wind, this thing is going to lay over. It has nowhere near enough root for as much tree as there is. And I never do this unless it's in a situation like this, and that is stake this tree. To me, I really don't like it. But before we get to that, folks, I'm going to show you another little trick that we do while we're here. We're going to get to staking the tree, but we got a problem, and it's not really that big a problem. See this comfrey right here? Well, it's pushed right up on my blueberry. Okay, we got this. It's okay if it's that close, typically. That's completely fine. But what I'm going to do, because we're going to knock out a few birds with one stone here, is this here is good. I'm going to give this tree everything it needs to survive. We gave it a good environment. We gave it good soil. We gave it good mulch. We gave it good compost. We gave it everything we did. This here is going to be the very best I can offer, okay? This is comfrey on top. And then we got some over here. Let me go ahead and cut it too. I'm just going to chop and drop. So for you folks who don't know how to do that, you're going to learn that too here today, right? So bam, got the comfrey. Let me get it all down. Now, for those of you that don't know, this comfrey will come back like gangbusters. So here it is. It's all chopped down. We put it right over here. This is why in your guilds, this is why I love comfrey, and it's a cardinal sin, but I love this plant probably more than any other by far, because it has so many awesome uses, not the least of which being that I can chop and drop this stuff right here, bam, add it right to my mulch ring. Now, in addition to that, I got some more comfrey. I got some comfrey root that I'm just going to plant. I got this one and that one, but I want more. I want more. So I'm going to plant some over here and I'm going to plant some over there. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll talk about staking this tree. All right, I got this comfrey root here. You see that? Some of y'all that order from us, it'll look very familiar to you, okay? So typically what I do, as a rule of thumb, when it comes to planting this comfrey, I got my shovel here. I just basically, from here to about where this metal begins right here in the shovel, you could say 3 feet, somewhere there about 4 feet. I don't go any further away than that. You can be closer if you like, but I come about that far away. I'm just going to kind of dig this out. I'm going to get down to where the cardboard is. And this is how easy this stuff is to plant. I got it down right there. I'm going to take some of this garden soil. I'm going to stick it down in there. I'm just below the compost. Got my comfrey root here, and I'm going to plant this bad boy about right there horizontally, just like that, right below the soil. Stick some on top, and I'm going to push my mulch right back over. Now, you want to try to keep this stuff watered. Got somebody driving by. Now, we're going to keep this stuff really, really watered until when it starts popping up, when I start seeing leaves like this, actually more like this. What did I do with it? It'll come up looking a lot like that. When I see that coming up, I know that, I pretty much ain't got to do nothing else. Just kind of keep water on it until that happens. But that's exactly what I want around every single tree, to where I got my initial mulch here, but from here on out, as this comfrey matures, the two that I've already chopped and dropped, they're going to go on, and this one here, and I'm fixing to put one over there. I got this long piece here, and it doesn't really have to, like I said, this stuff is so prolific. Now, here's the deal. Here's where it gets a little bit weird. We got all our potatoes coming up here, and frankly, I'm not expecting a huge crop out of here. If nothing else, I expect to feed the worms. It was more of an experiment than anything, but that's how you find out. I'm gonna go ahead, got me another root here. Same thing all over. In fact, the cardboard's gone here. That tells me this soil is alive. Okay, I'm just gonna stick it. I just pulled the mulch out of the way. I'm gonna lay this root down in there like so. Grab me a handful of soil, put it on top, bam. Put the mulch back over it. Just keep a little bit of water on it till it comes around. Okay, comfrey in both ends. Trees are planted. Chopped and dropped the old comfrey down. Here's another part of the guild, y'all. Got a blueberry right here. See that? Then got another one right here. Yeah, and they're all growing up. They're a little bit close, but I can keep them pruned where I want them. But now that we got this in, we're going to go ahead and show you how and why we stake it, all right? All right, so here we go. I got 3 stakes in here, and all I'm gonna do is really nothing fancy. I mean, I'm just gonna put a bow line around this tree. Anybody that wants to know, check out that homestead knot video. We do that all the time. We do this knot all the time. In fact, all the knots we do all the time. So it's loose. This isn't the best way of going about doing this. And in fact, I'm gonna make sure it's not gonna be tight on this thing like this. It's gonna be somewhat loose. Now, the other end of this, I'm gonna put down here, if I quit kicking around my blueberry here, all I'm gonna do, I want a knot that ain't gonna walk on me. So all I'm gonna do is a round turn with 2 half hitches on this end, and I'm gonna leave it somewhat loose. Okay, round turn, and I'm gonna put a half hitch here, and do another half hitch right here. Okay. There you go. And the cool thing is, when this is under tension, it ain't going anywhere. It's only going to dig in more. I'll just kind of dress it up and bring it down low. Now, I'm going to keep this attached. I'm going to put 3 of them on here. So no matter which way the wind's blowing, it's going to stay put. Now, this is going to stay put probably until probably by the end of winter, because I need this thing to put down some roots if it survives. It's a $7 tree, okay? So it may not make it. But I'm going to give it every good chance I can, and I'm not going to baby it too much. But if it does survive, this rope will come off before spring, actually by the end of winter. So, yeah, we'll let this thing put some roots down and drive on. So I'll go ahead and get the other ones in. All right, we got this bad boy secured at 3 places. That's good. Might have to tighten a few of them up, but you kind of get the point. And it's also really, really loose up here. But I'm also going to go back and check. It's better if you have some hose and you can do it that kind of way. But the only thing left to do, we take some of this hardware cloth and we're going to stick it around this tree. And this is another one of those awesome tricks I got from Mr. Subkoviak. Can't wait to get up there to Canada if they ever open the border again. That's another person I'd like to go visit. And we'll see if he'll grant me an audience one of these days. Anyway. So we got this on here. That's going to help keep those voles away. And also, this was on the tree that was here before. But ideally, I would want this thing to come up about yay high, and I'll replace it in time. Just because we got dogs running around, and every once in a while, I mean, who even knows? Why not give them the option? They're not going to stick their little mouths on top of that. So the only thing left to do is we're going to hit it with a little bone sauce, as we always do. And stay tuned for that. As soon as we get some decent weather conditions, I'll make more of that. We'll also have it for sale at the website. But here you go, folks. Let's just kind of recap everything we got here. We have got a ballin' mulch ring, right? Doesn't get any better than this. Got our tree secured. Got to prune it. But here it is. In opposite corners, this is part of our guild. Opposite corners, we got blueberries doing fantastic. We got comfrey here, comfrey there, more comfrey there, more comfrey there. We got a nitrogen fixing shrub that needs to come up. There's a whole lot of things right now that you can't necessarily see, but in here we got a ring on the outside of daffodils. It's going to help keep those browsers away, right? Also, even some of the ones that like to tunnel, they find those repulsive. Got some in here, got some garlic in here, got a little bit of everything. So all of this is ready to go. We're not going to do much more to this tree. We're not going to baby it. We're not going to do too much. We have everything in order. It's down here in the food forest. That's why we got potatoes to my left and right. We got a little bit of everything here, folks. We're throwing everything at it. We're growing more food than we ever had this year. That's part of it. So the only thing left to do, and we're going to save that for Patreon, for anybody that wants to come over there, we're going to go ahead and prune this thing. Typically, we do that also in the fall or when the leaves come off of it. Usually around here, that's going to be in the winter. But we're going to do some now because it's going to help increase its chances of survival right now. And there's a whole methodology into doing that. So folks, I hope this stuff helps. This is a really, really, really good way to get yourself off and running. Want to give a shout out to Homesteading Pastor once again, because the truth is I would not have even been looking had I not seen what he had done first. So big shout out to him and Miss Robbie Lynn. Got everything off and running, and look at this. We got strawberries over there. Folks, I'm getting carried away. You know how I get in these food forests. Anyway, till next time, this is Billy, the Permaculture Pimp Daddy, where PIMP stands for Permaculture is my passion. We'll see you next time.